Hello.
Hello. Welcome in. Give you like Mr. Rogers and open the door. Welcome to our home. Sometimes that's what this place feels like. I love it here so much.
Yeah, you do live right here.
I do live right here. Yeah, that's my door. That's my exit. It's good to go. Well, I've just been sitting here regaling Denny since this is the first time I got to see him this week about my Atlanta Blade stories. It was a fun time. Got to hang out with Chris Andre and his wife Terry, which was a lot of fun. And I mean, I'm going to say that I convinced him to come and do some classes here or some videos, but really he offered, so he gets
some cool stuff, you guys.
So I'm excited about that. Got to meet a couple famous people from the internet world this weekend at Blade Show, so that was really awesome. But in any case, we're here because you're going to tool some leather, and that's what everybody loves.
We're doing some stuff here that is not my forte, but I'm giving it a whirl.
I'm kicking him out of the nest.
This owl is going to fly out of the nest.
That's right. So this is what we got, Justin, up at the top here. So I found this on Vector Stock. This was the whole, I just Googled owl vector images. And I went until I found one that I was like, I think that this would be a good tooling pattern and option. And so hopefully, Denny, I was correct that it is going to be good to tool. And you can get some natural, because we did the laser one, but that was more geometric,
Yeah.
which was good for the lasering. But for tooling, geometric, it can be really good, but we wanted to do something a little bit more natural.
Yeah, and this is a little bit animated.
Yeah.
Well, when I do it, it'll probably be a lot animated. But anyway, that's what we're going to do.
All right.
And I already traced this out.
Is that no, that's not a 12 by 12.
It was.
It was. You kind of cut it a little bit narrower.
Yeah.
Just so that you guys know so this piece of leather is 12 inches wide and a 9 3/4, 12 inches tall, 9 3/4 wide. So that's our base here. We're going to frame this and we'll hang it up on the wall just like our other Denny art that we've been getting. I think the overall image is 8 1/4 inches tall. So that's what we got for height.
Yeah. But anyway.
So you got them all traced.
Yeah. I guess the first thing, we're going to put these little turquoise, which I found. I had these in a secret hiding spot.
You put them in a very safe place.
I did. But we're going to use these for this owl's little eyeballs. Like this.
Ooh. Yeah, we're going to do a little.
So, to cut out these holes, and these are not perfectly round shaped, but I'm going to cut a perfectly round hole.
That makes sense.
And I'm going to use this punch, which I'm not sure exactly. It's a 3/8 inch punch.
Okay.
And I'm going to set this on here, and it's just a hair smaller than the stone itself. So that's
Hi, Kevin. We're live. Welcome to the show.
I just came in to test my scissors and tie my shoe.
With your scissors?
That must be done in the media room.
Well, I saw leather sitting here, so I figured that would work. I learned.
Okay, done that.
You can let her out because she's not going to want to be in here.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Goodbye.
Bye, Kevin.
Bye.
Okay, now that I've got that cut out, I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to skive around the inside of this.
Ooh. And he's already got it all taped. You see how shiny that is, guys? We're taped in the back here. So he's going to skive through his tape.
Yeah, I'm just going to use a French edger and skive around here. Hopefully not more than I should. See, this is live, you guys. I don't have a chance to make a mistake. If I do, you all can laugh.
You did. I did see that you did pre-tool an owl in preparation.
Yes, I pre-tooled an owl, but I didn't pre-tool
his eyeballs.
Setting a stone in it. Oh,
look at that.
That's
perfect.
Great.
Look at that eyeball.
Okay.
Nobody judge my eyeballs, guys.
I did put this back in their little secret.
I wanted to go with turquoise because they're fun. I thought that they were cool. They're probably not at all
owl-like.
Owl-like, but
yeah, I've never known an owl with turquoise eye.
No, it's my special. It's my AI owl. I found this picture and I felt so silly. I was just scrolling through, probably Facebook, I don't know, And there's this picture that comes up that somebody had posted, and it was, what do they call it? Like a lynx owl? I don't know what they called it. But it was this owl that like looked like it had cat-like feet, you know, and like this crazy feather situation. It was this coolest thing. And I showed it to my mom. I was like, Mom, look at this owl, because she loves owls.
I see it, yeah.
Yeah. And then she was like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. And then I started looking it up, and apparently it's like this internet craze sensation that somebody created this animal on, you know, using the new AI image generator stuff. And I was really bummed that it wasn't a real owl.
That would be a very majestic animal.
It was
You just
beautiful.
Google lynx owl, it's the first thing that pops up.
Yeah. I got the right cat. Proud of myself. But anyways, it was really cool. It was a cool image. I thought it would be a cool bird, but it's a fake bird. So that was a little sad. Tiger's eye would also be really cool. I didn't have any round tiger's eye though. And that's the other thing. Owl eyes are round. And finding a round cab is actually not as easy as one might imagine. Most of them are oval or weird shaped. And so every once in a while, like we'll get like 1 or 2 circles in each stone. But I didn't have any good circles. Circles were difficult. So I found these almost circle turquoise pieces.
Yeah. And that works well enough because leather is fairly forgiving.
That's right. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Well, and when you cut a round hole, it makes up for it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Latigo. I appreciate. MF Mary Fredrickson says she's looking forward to this, and thank you in advance.
All right.
Yeah, it's difficult to find them. Dean, I see your message about the quick shine. Denny said he was glad that something worked for you, that he said, so that was good. Thanks for letting us know. What did you use it in? Like, what was your application? I assume that you were just finishing leather to antique. Ooh, William's having fun. Last week I was in Central Oregon at a meeting. Next week I'm going to Greece with a bunch of retired music teachers to explore Greek music and culture.
How
I'm
wonderful.
jealous.
Can we go?
Yeah.
I want to go. William, you take us with you. How about on Wednesday and Friday of next week, you live stream and we'll watch you.
That sounds fun.
Look at those ears. Those little horns. Is that what they, right?
Yeah, horns.
Horns.
This is a great horned owl.
No pun intended.
Yeah. I really haven't done very much figure carving. So this is definitely experimental every time I do something like this. And it seems like if I did it enough, I wouldn't have to say that I don't do this very often.
It's okay. We're working on it, Denny. I'm gonna keep pushing. We're gonna do those feathers. We're gonna do the mirrored images one of these days. I'm gonna make you do it. We're
Those
gonna-
are rugged.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Do all these big lines first.
But at least I made it nice and big for you.
Yeah.
It's not
I'm
a-
glad it's not a tiny
It's not a tiny.
little horned owl. It would be a lesser horned owl instead of a great horned owl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Lesser.
We had a situation right before we left for Blade. Chris was doing yard work the weekend before last, and he calls me on my phone. He's like, I need you to come out here right now and try to help me find the cat, because our cat lives out in our backyard for the most part. And so I go out there, and there's this tiny little cardinal baby that is just hopping along. It looks like its parents had pushed it out of the nest and it's doing its thing where it needs to try to fly. But Chris was afraid that the cat was going to get it, which is a thing. And so I had to go out there and try to find the cat in the bamboo forest, which was difficult. But I managed to track her down and get her inside. But she did manage to pounce on the bird once. And so when I was doing, before we got her, and so when I was doing yard work the weekend after, I could see, like, he had made it outside the fence, but he was still having a little bit of troubles flying, and I felt really bad about that. Poor little guy. But he was kind of making it, and his parents were still around. They were still kind of fluttering around the yard.
We discovered that we have a giant, like, I don't remember what kind of bush it is, but it produces amazing flowers, but it's massive. And one morning, we were hearing a bunch of little chirps, so Shannon opened our blinds and stuff, and right there, like, eye level with our window, our bedroom, where our bed is, just a bunch of little babies that just hatched.
Oh my goodness, that's so exciting. I hit a bird on my drive this weekend. It was like there's two of them flying across, and then there was just one, and then I look in my rearview mirror, and then there's just kind of feathers. And I was like, oh no. And then I felt bad for the other one because, like, I killed his little partner. And then I was like, well, now he's going to be lonely and he's going to be wondering where his little bird friend went.
Since we're talking about bird murder with a car, I've got an owl story. This is a true story.
Okay.
When I was younger, believe it or not, I was at one time, I was going to school in Glenwood Springs, a little place called Colorado Mountain College.
Okay.
But I had a little Triumph Spitfire, which was the neatest little car. You sit about this far off the ground. In fact, your hind end got hot if you were going fast.
Like a Fred Flintstone car.
But my folks lived in Arvada, which is just outside of Denver. And I was going back to Glenwood Springs in my little Spitfire. And I had a whole roll of, I had a side of Latigo and a side of Nature Tan leather, they called it.
Oh, okay.
On the luggage rack on the right behind me. And I had the top down, and it was nighttime, and I was just flying through Glenwood Canyon.
Okay.
And I don't know if any of you know, Glenwood Canyon is this place. The Colorado River is running on one side of the highway, and the highway just hangs on the edge. But I was just going around these curves, and I looked up, and all of a sudden, whoa, right in front of me, this thing covered my whole windshield. And the windshield was only like this wide.
Uh-huh.
Triumph Spitfire. Covered the whole windshield, and it went thump and went. I could feel the air of it going like this over the back of me. And I looked in the rearview mirror, and there was a car that was coming up.
Oh, no.
And it was an owl. He hit the ground and took off again and flew off into the sunset or into the moonset.
But the other car didn't get him?
No.
Oh, good.
This owl hit the pavement and immediately was back up in the air. But that thing covered my whole windshield.
Oh my gosh, the owls are amazing, and they're huge. They tuck up their little wings real deceptively, and they spread them out real big.
Another time, an eagle story in about the same spot, but there was a dead deer on the side of the road, and there was a golden. It was either a golden eagle or a real young bald eagle, because it had brown feathers, but it was grown. It was a big bird.
Yeah.
And it was sitting there chewing on this dead deer as I was driving by, and I stopped, and I was watching it, and it got kind of disturbed, so it grabbed this deer and started dragging it up the hill.
Have you ever seen what they do to goats?
No.
No, they'll drop them off the side of the mountains.
Oh, boy.
It's pretty incredible. I like to watch the videos of, like, the birds that fish.
Oh,
and
yeah.
when you see them dive into the water, and then they're down there for a while.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they burst back out again, and they've got a big fish in their talons. And I'm just like, birds can fly and swim.
Some.
That is true, some. Yeah. Crystal, that's really sad. Why did you have to tell us that? But this one didn't die, hopefully.
No.
Did he? He flew back off, and hopefully he was good to go. She said the owls mate for life, so if the mate dies, they'll die alone of heartbreak.
Well, this one wanted to go back to its mate, I could tell. Just the way it took off. I'm cutting these little owl's toes right now.
I see that. Let's see here. Mikey's, or not Mikey, but Mike, which is actually kind of fun. We've got Mikey Zero, and then we've got the real Pastor Mike having a little conversation. Says he can't seem to keep the blade sharp enough on my swivel, and then Mikey said to strop it. But also realize that if you've stropped it and you feel like you have a really good polish, it could be that you don't have the right moisture content in your leather.
That's exactly right.
So, or sometimes just there are some leathers that are better for tooling than others, and sometimes depending on the leather that you're using, it's just never gonna feel quite right. And
Another thing, if you will take and let me see here. Look down the edge,
Nope.
the edge of your blade.
Okay.
If you will look at it right in a light where you can actually see that blade all the way down, if you can see the edge, it's not sharp.
Oh.
If it comes to a point and you can't see that edge, it's sharp, and all you need to do is strop it probably.
Gotcha.
But also a swivel knife, you're just cutting with the very corner of this knife. So if it's at all rounded off, you need to put it on a stone and sharpen it. And we've got those little, what are those little tools called? Not an easy sharp, but
I know what you're talking about. It's a little metal tool. You put your swivel knife in it, and it holds it at the correct angle for you to sharpen it. A keen edge. Keen edge.
Keen edge
Beveler?
sharpener.
Keen edge sharpener.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you just pull it along, and then you can turn the blade over and pull it along on the other side. You want to do the same number of strokes on each side on your stone, or you'll start to get your edge off to one side or the other.
Yep.
It's the sharpener keen edge.
Yep. Probably little metal thing. Yeah. Honing guide. Yeah.
And another thing, if you're using a type of leather, some types of leather don't lend themselves to being cut with a swivel knife.
Yeah.
Herman Oak does. Just a hint, you guys.
It's what we like. It's what Denny's using.
Well, because it does cut so well.
Yep.
And, some people will even take and put a little bit of Dawn dish soap in their casing water, and that will help your knife glide a little smoother. That'll help some types of leather if they aren't wanting to cut very smoothly. Don't put enough in there that you actually wash your dishes with.
Hey, Ralph. Awesome, Mike. He said that he thinks that the corners are a little bit rounded.
Yeah, that's your problem, I would say, Mike.
Yeah, he's going to pick up that sharpener. Dean, we didn't draw the owl. We just found a picture that looked good. So don't judge us for its wingspan. Maybe he's got little cropped wings.
If this thing was covering your Triumph Spitfire, it would look a lot bigger than it does right here.
Guys, I did put Kevin on the schedule for the second to last week of this month. I think we had one free day, and so I plopped Kevin on there to color his rose for us. He doesn't know this yet, but that's what's going to happen.
Right. He's going to love it.
Yeah. He's going to really love it. I need to tell him, though, so he can start practicing his coloring. Mikey Zero said, with Denny's advice over the last few years, I've gotten really good at stropping my blades. I barely ever replace my craft knife blades.
Well, good. Am I doing okay?
Yeah, you're doing great. Perfectly in shot. Anyone else getting smoked out? Ralph, are you up north? Are there fires? It's been really hazy in Springfield since I got back.
It was. I noticed that yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So we're definitely. I don't think that we're smoky because I haven't seen or heard about any fires, but we're definitely very hazy. So it could be something that's moving through.
I'm sure we're getting like the last little bit of it's hitting us.
Yeah.
That smoke that's coming in here.
Northeast Pennsylvania. It's literally blocking out the sun.
Oh, that's scary.
When we were up in Sheridan, it was that smoky. We couldn't see the mountains, and you're very close to the mountains when you're in Sheridan. You should be able to see them. But it was so smoky because Canada is on fire, and it was all coming down, and it was just covered. Look at that.
Got this bird cut.
Mikey, I don't know about skins. That kind of, we get the warthog in. Typically, like, we'll buy just lots of exotics from boot companies. Usually, like, they're scrap pieces or leftovers or pieces that they, for whatever reason couldn't use. And so it's not something that we order. I might, if you really want some, I might be able to check in and get you pricing for actually ordering skins. But it's probably going to be a lot more expensive than what we've been selling because we do buy it as more remnants. But we did just pull over some scrap boxes from our other building. And so I saw Jana going through it yesterday, and it had like, I think it was called Kookaburra, but it looked like warthog. So if you can use some scrappy stuff, maybe shoot me an email, and I can go over there and kind of pull through and see what size the pieces are. I didn't really pull it out and look at it. I just saw it on the top. So shoot me an email, and I'll try to get that done here in the next few days.
Did this for practice. I used a stamp to cut these big chest and head feathers, but I'm just going to cut these by hand.
Oh, sounds good. All right, Denny, so we didn't actually see you spray this piece of leather. So when did you wet it?
Just before we started.
Okay.
When you cut, you want moisture in the leather quite a bit, but you don't want it saturated. When you bevel, you want it a little bit drier. So I generally wet mine fairly well when I start to trace it.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time I get it traced, unless it's just a huge pattern, it's about ready to cut. And then by the time I get it cut, it's about ready to bevel.
It's perfect.
Which is about where we are now.
Mike, it is every Thursday. So tomorrow we'll be doing live shopping, 2 p.m. Thursdays Central Time. And so it's usually something that we've just got on the sheet. I'll put it on there. $45. You get 6 pre-cuts. 3 of them are import. 3 of them are Herman Oak. Mike, so after we do, it is on Twitch. That's where the live shopping happens. After the Twitch stream is over, Tony and I have this amazing Excel sheet where we have put everybody's name that has won the items that they won. And then it usually takes us about an hour to make sure that, like any new people, we've got matched up. It's a very intense Excel sheet. It's a lot of little things to do. But then we do an upload and you receive an email invoice through our website. So that then you just click a link, it takes you into your account and you can pay however you want through the website. And then it just processes just like a regular order that you would have placed. So That's how it works. It's pretty straightforward. We give you 3-4 days to complete the order. We do the live shopping on Thursday. Invoices go out, or like the quotes go out by 5 typically on a Thursday, and then you have until Monday at midnight to complete your estimate. And then Tony and I process the orders. So it's a lot of fun. Fortunately, Tony's in Colorado this week, so I will be having all the fun by myself.
That's all right, because he had fun without you last week.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did you come in here?
No.
No. I asked Kevin if he wanted to come in, but he said he didn't know when he was going to be back. I know. It'll be fine.
Yeah, Kevin just got back from California, didn't
He
he?
sure did.
I need to go somewhere.
Weren't you planning on going somewhere one of these
Oh,
days?
at some point, but I don't know. We can't make up our minds when and where.
It's too much
My
gardening
wife-
to do, isn't it?
My wife she's intent on her gardening.
Yeah.
She can't take her mind off of that.
Got chickens and gardens.
Chickens and gardens, yeah.
All right, so we're cut, yeah?
We're cut. Now let's bevel some. Let me put this away. Out of our way.
We look forward to seeing you there, Mike. I actually have some stuff, so we'll do a little bit of a Twitch after party for today, and I'll show you guys some of the stuff that we'll be selling. I've got some stuff pulled. It won't be very long, but I did pull some things so that we can do a little bit of an after party, and you guys can have a little bit of a preview.
Am I not in a good position?
No, you're good.
No, I'm just gonna, there's a better position for the camera.
We have to be on a different side of you from when you swivel knife.
Yes.
It's a dance that we do with the cameras.
Camera dance. This little maul I made a bunch of years ago. I made this thing. And I used to use it a lot, but I haven't used it in years. And I saw it up there and I thought, I'm going to use this.
This leather has melded into one piece.
It has. And I didn't have a lathe. I shaped this on a drill. I just chucked the bolt into the drill.
Oh, really?
And used sandpaper and a horseshoe rasp.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. Dean, Twitch is where the cool kids hang out. You should try it sometime. Yeah, Denny, I feel like this year is the year of you trying out all of your tools, is maybe being a little bit more adventurous.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying you've been inspired
I have been.
to look at your bench again and see what kind of things you've been leaving behind. Have we ever done a clock face on a live?
I don't believe so.
You made a couple, but I don't think we ever did.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to add that. Rusty came in yesterday, and he had, at the auction that we hosted a few weeks ago, there was like some fender stamps, like for like motorcycle fenders, I think, or maybe it was a saddle fender, like a big stamp,
Uh-huh.
and it had like the mark, the manufacturing mark, which we can't use. So we were thinking about like grinding that section off, and then maybe stamping out some, and you could turn it. You could make that little section into a clock.
Yeah.
And
that
then
would be good.
have a cool fender clock. But also, when we were at Sheridan, one of the displays, or one of the entries into the World Leather debut, was a filigreed butterfly that was all floral cut. And then, like, part of the blades at the end were filigreed out, which was just gorgeous, and they had made it into a clock.
Wow.
And
Something that I've wanted to try for a while is a stirrup clock. Just take a stirrup and put a clock in.
oh yeah, That would be fun.
Yeah, but Kevin had a bunch of clocks a few years ago, several years ago. And he said, why don't you do clock faces for these? And I did.
Yep, they're on retail.
Yeah, they're still there.
We need a clock in here. That would be cool. Yeah, we'll have to do that. Is that me as an emoji in Twitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Drinking coffee cup
Um,
or out of your little green thermos.
Guys, I did realize I was having, I was watching back through some of our videos from a year or so ago, and I realized that I had not been being diligent about making sure that I had a cool coffee mug. So today I made an effort. So I have my Wookiee celebration mug. I missed May. I missed all of May, but I got it in June. Got it in June.
You made me want coffee. So I had to take my hourly sip.
Hey, Hicks, how you doing?
Knife Man Hicks.
It's Knife Man Hicks. Oh, Jim Linnell did a stirrup clock.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yep, he did it on his channel. Well, we're just gonna copy him. Oh, I got to meet Jim because I missed it when he came here to teach classes. I guess it's been 2 years ago now. No, it was last year. It was
ago,
it was last year when I was on my cruise to Alaska, so I can't really complain all that much. But I got to. It was right after the award ceremony in Sheridan, and they were waiting on everybody to gather to go up and take a picture for the Owl and Ann Stolman Award, all the winners, and or I'll call them recipients of the award. I feel like that's a better word to use. And so I introduced myself, and he said he's ready to come back whenever we want him. So that was really awesome. He's so sweet. Even just those 2 seconds that I met him. He's just the loveliest guy.
We had fun with him when he was here. And Ed LeBar.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, the guest instructors that we have coming in here have all been so much fun.
Yeah.
And so informative. I mean, I've changed my way of doing things every time someone new comes in.
That's what I'm saying. You're expanding your horizons. Hey, Crystal, we see ya. George Hurst has made an excellent stirrup clock video.
Oh, shoot, I thought I had an idea.
Denny did make a really cool Tapadero lamp.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Denny, I've been thinking because we're scheduled out through the end of this month, and that's it. And so I need to start working on my schedule again, and I've got that guitar case in my head.
Okay.
Hi, Luna. You want to come in?
She almost made it.
Luna, push. You want to come in? Okay. You gonna be happy? Have you been wandering this whole time?
This doesn't scare you, does it, Luna? Doesn't
Maybe
look
it's-
like it.
Awesome, Ernie. That's very cool. So Ernie asked about a custom basket we've stamped a few weeks ago, and I was like, well, I can't. That's not something that I think I'm going to be able to accomplish well for you. It's not going to be what you're looking for, but Sergey is going to get it done for him. So very cool.
Oh, he's going to make a custom stamp?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. like a basket weave stamp. So like, you know, one of those stamps like you're using, basket weave, or custom one. Oh, Michael, I'm sorry to hear that your son fell off his bike. That's no fun. I've fallen off my share of bicycles. My brother one time, my next oldest sibling, he hit a rock one time while he was riding his bicycle, and he flew off front. So like the rock, it was a big enough rock that it stopped him, and he flew off the bike, and he ground off his 2 front teeth on the concrete.
Oh gosh.
So ever since he's like 13 or 14 years old, he's had like fake front teeth.
We had a kid who got his stuff in the gym floor in high school, because he got tagged and oh, Pete's stories always make me cringe. I just thought about him grinding his teeth. Oh my god. I think Chris is looking for him.
Used to have a German Shepherd dog when I had my farm. And he would always ride in the back of the pickup, you know, just when I was going wherever on the farm. And I was going to town, which is about 3 miles from where my farm was. And he hopped in the back of the truck. And I didn't think anything about it. But I was going down this gravel road. He jumped out. His front, and I saw this in the rear view mirror, my side mirror. And his front legs buckled underneath him, and he skidded on his chin and just wore it flat. He was dripping blood and everything, but he didn't think anything about it. He hopped back in the truck and started wiping his tail.
Said, "Oh well, let's go to the vet."
Yeah. Well, no, I didn't even take him to the vet, and he healed up. That it grew back normal.
Everything was fine.
He even had chin whiskers.
Chin whiskers. Aw, bless his little heart.
Yeah. But he didn't jump out of the back of the truck anymore. What are you doing, Luna?
Oh, clothing. I did try clothing once. It wasn't my forte. Leather clothing is interesting. I don't. And Denny probably clothing is not really, unless it's a pair of chaps.
Yeah.
It's not really your forte either.
Yeah. People used to ask me to do stuff like vests and pants.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I don't do clothes. The closest I come is chaps.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
I mean, maybe one day no one cares because that's your screen name, which is a little bit weird to say. Maybe one day we'll have a person in here that they specialize in clothing. Like probably Larissa is the closest person that I can think of that would have been good enough to make clothes. But clothes are interesting and hard, and they take a lot of practice. A duster jacket would be awesome. Like I would be all about it, but it's clothes. And I don't think that we're going to schedule that in soon. Michael was asking about stocking like a stirrup as like a shape. Do stirrups change shape? Are they standard?
No. There's several different kinds. There's oxbow stirrups, which are round on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the other stirrups are flat on the bottom, but there's different types. There's a Visalia, which is just straight on the sides.
Yeah.
Then there's a bell bottom, which comes down and then bells out and then gets flat on the bottom. Then there's a Moran, which is basically the same as a bell bottom, only at the top it's not as narrow, it's wider.
Okay.
And generally they lend themselves to a real wide stirrup tread. And there's a bunch. There's old cavalry type stirrups, which are a little bit different shape, but yeah, they aren't standard.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it was like a novelty item, maybe, Michael, if it was maybe like a small shape that was just like a stirrup that you could use, you know, as something to tool on. But I just don't know the practicality of actually getting a die made that was just one particular stirrup shape. Plus, then you need a right and left. So, Crystal says she's stuck, have to make a gun bag and doesn't know where to start. Like a purse, like a conceal and carry purse, or like a pistol caddy.
You know, conceal and carry purses used to be all the rage
Hey, Jim.
for a while.
Yeah.
I don't hear much about them anymore. I guess in Missouri you can carry open, so I guess women just carry the gun on their belt.
Yeah. See, Latigo knows about the clothes.
That's intimidating.
Yeah. So Latigo used to make men's suits for decades. That's awesome. Over 2,200 steps in making a suit coat. A duster would be close to that. Yeah, no, the clothing that's a whole different beast, and that is not what we do here. My mom is a seamstress. She makes clothes and all that stuff, but I never really learned it. I keep getting requests for conceal and carry bags. Rifle bag, 54 inches by 10 inches. All right. Starting with finding a piece of leather big enough. Oh, it's Michael's words. Today is Michael's 21st wedding anniversary. Happy anniversary, Michael. I think we have a rifle bag pattern, don't we?
We have
You did
rifle scabbards.
a rifle scabbard. And then I think you did a case too, right?
For a shotgun, yeah.
Yeah, shotgun
but
case.
It would work for a rifle too.
You just have to...
probably need to shorten it a bit.
Yeah. So Don Gonzalez has a rifle bag pattern. What about leather apron? Martin, we've done several leather aprons. I think we did a whole series because we sell a pattern pack that is several different aprons. And we did several videos. They've been probably 2 years ago now.
Yeah, probably. It was when Clayton was here, right?
Yeah. How's it going?
I don't know. Were you talking to me?
I am. What about the lined sheepskin vest? Oh, Dean. We're gonna have to get some practice in on that one and make sure we know what we're doing. We did get a whole bunch of shearlings at one point. I think we kind of sold through a lot of them. We'd have to get some more shearlings in.
Yeah, most of the shearlings we have now are like saddle shearlings, right?
Yeah. Too long. I do love those vests. They're just like the jackets in general where they've got the hair on the inside and then it's the back. We've gotten a lot of those skins in that like the backs are printed. The suede side of the shearling has been finished somehow to look really cool. And then you've got the fur on the inside and then like you flip it out, you know, and you've got like the furry lapels on the outside and the fur inside. I like jackets like that. The vest would fit me, of course. Of course, Dean. No, the vest would fit me, sir. That's what I get out of all these. Free clothes. Not free clothes. because we don't make clothes.
Again, we don't. Clothes out of leather are a different thing than out of fabric, because leather is stretchy and fabric generally is not.
Yeah.
And leather is thicker than fabric, so sizes have to be altered depending on what weight of leather you're using, I would think.
Yeah. And then most fabric patterns, because fabric has to be, you have to hide the seams so it doesn't fray out. And so there's usually a lot more seam allowance than necessary than, you know, when you're building something with leather.
Yeah, and especially if you're talking about a shearling, I mean, you have to, that adds quite a bit of dimension to
Now I have been thinking about this. One thing that I might be willing to do, which would be clothing, was just a really simple deerskin, almost like a smock shirt that laced up the sides. So it's just two pieces. I mean, you could put pockets on it, you could put whatever, but just two pieces of leather, you know, that are just like a front panel and a back panel. The bottom edges were all left raw, which I thought was a lot of fun. And then it just laced up the sides. So that potentially could be something that I would be willing to do. You just cut, I don't know.
that would be neat.
You could even potentially do it just out of one whole piece of leather, although I don't know what would be, and then just cut a hole out for your neck with a little like V.
Yeah, like a poncho.
Yeah, it's a poncho shirt. I don't remember if she had the tops laced up. I think she had a jacket on over her shirt, so I don't recall seeing the top of the shoulders. So I don't know if she laced it up here or if it was just one solid piece that she laced up down the sides. Leather also keeps in heat very good. I need to line with shearling in the front is axis deer inlay. Nice. Speaking of shearling, I love Rusty Bear. We had a lot of fun making those bears last year. That was a good time. Bevel all your toes.
Bevel and altos.
All right, Dean. Sure, that's what we're going to do. Now, next week, we're going to do a butterfly chair. Still need to pick out the leather.
That's Andy's deal, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And you can work on a vest.
How about a poncho? I can cut a hole in the middle of a piece of leather.
Yeah, the other thing about clothing that I hate is sizes. You have to have sizes
Yeah.
for different sized people.
Bites, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's no fun. So, like, when we did the hat patterns, like, every hat pattern had to have four, you're like a small, medium, large, extra large. And you have to make sure all the dimensions work, especially for a head. But, like, people are the same way. Like, everybody's got different shapes. So, it's pretty extensive to try to come up with patterns. And I know that's what you guys are going to want. You don't want to just see us make a vest. You're going to want to see a pattern for a vest. I don't want to do that. You know what would be fun, though, is making leather toggles for clothes. Or, like, bags. You do a lot of leather toggles.
What do you mean toggles?
Like closure toggles.
Oh, yeah.
But you do a lot of bag toggles.
Roll buttons and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, we could do a whole segment on
Leather toggles.
leather toggles, yeah.
That would be fun. Be better than a vest. Dean.
Dean, you need to come over here and do the vest deal.
Y'all ever tried laser engraving designs into leather? all the time, Mike. We own 2 Glow Forges and a Boss. We used a Full Spectrum for a long time. Good job, Justin. Yeah, we do lots of lasering. In fact, a few weeks ago, we did a different owl, which is what I kind of talked about at the beginning. That was, we had biker leather that we had lasered an owl into and then set stones into the owl and made a bag, which is over there, I think. Maybe over. Right
Yeah,
there.
I see.
Yeah, it's
a
right there.
Blueness there.
The blueness. He held up well at Sheridan. So this is a lasered owl. So Mike, this is what I'm gonna say, is most of the time when you read about laser and leather, it's usually only suggested to laser vegetable tanned leather. Chrome tan leather has chemicals in it that when you laser, they become airborne and can cause respiratory issues. But if your laser is vented to the outside, which most lasers should be, unless you have like Glowforge cells, a really intense, it's like $1,000 for their indoor filtration system. It's got like 6 filters in it to filter out the air. We laser chrome tan leathers. Like we laser oil tan leathers. We laser the spiker leather. We do it here. We have a really big industrial filter system. Everything goes outside. But just like, it's typically only recommended to laser vegetable tan leathers that do not have the chromium salts in it that become airborne. Or, you know, put on an N95 or like one of those actual masks, the ones that like clip onto your face that people use in like grinding rooms, like the legit masks, if you're not in a filtered situation. But that is what I'm going to say on that front. Be cautious, make sure things are vented, and only do what you're comfortable with. Aimless Wanderings, we do other things all the time. We've done a bag from Leather Hub. In a few weeks, we're going to talk about our Chan gear patterns. Now, we do sell those, but, you know, they're not ours. For sure. We love talking about other leather crafters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I thought that's what we've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not our pattern. I'm just gonna. Probably hair on cowhide is the worst thing to laser. It smells awful, but it looks cool. it looks pretty cool.
Smell all under the laser. It's not.
Yeah, but the hair is the worst.
Never smelled the hair.
Burning hair. It's not great.
You've never been to a cow branding, have you?
Nope, I have never, but I assume it's very similar.
Oh.
But then you also have the flesh underneath. So you're just burning the hair and the flesh.
Barbecue and hair.
Yeah,
Together. Not really. Just hair.
A diesel punk, we see a lot of diesel punk stuff out there. They make a couple of clothing adjacent patterns. Steampunk vest, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it takes a long time, and that's the thing, is that I don't have anybody that is a clothing expert, and so for us to attempt to develop clothing patterns, it's just really unreal, because like we'd have to learn how to make clothes, you know, like you need a person.
We might talk to Ellen. Ellen might be able to do something like that.
Do some stuff, and it takes a long time to perfect things, to make all your things, so that's just not something that we're focusing on right now. Dean asked if it's worse than burnt chicken feathers. I've never smelled.
No, it's much better than burnt chicken feathers. It's quite delectable compared to burnt chicken feathers.
If you just look up Diesel Punk, I believe he has, I don't know if it's an Etsy store that he sells his stuff off of.
He's a website.
Or, okay, he's got his own website. So if you just type in Diesel Punk, you should be able to find it really quickly. And then Springfield patterns compatible with lasers. At this point, the digital ones, I don't think that they're laser ready. That is something that we are going to try to start working on, is making our patterns laser ready, so that some of them are just unreasonable to do because they're too big to fit in a pattern, but the ones that are small enough that you could actually fit in a common size laser, that is something that we're going to start working on. But I don't think as of right now it is a thing. He's been working on a Biker Fest design for 2 years and it's still not out. Exactly. Let's see here. Crystal asked, does the way you hold your mallet matter? Because I seem to use it as a hammer.
Yes. Don't hold it like a hammer. Yeah. Yeah, don't hold it like a hammer, like you're driving a nail. Hold it parallel to your body, where you can just rock your wrists back and forth. And you don't have to use your arm that way.
Yeah.
I mean, that's desirable to do it that way. There are some people that don't, but I think you have better luck if you learn to use it that way.
Yeah, Brian, so this is just, this is an image that I Googled vector owl images, and I just scrolled through until I found one that I felt like would be a good accommodation for tooling. To do a little bit of like natural tooling features. So that's the image that we're using today, just off of vector stock, something that I printed out as a pattern.
This is a fairly simple looking pattern. I'd hate to try to do it like the eagle that you showed me that fella had done in Sheridan.
Oh, the hawk.
The hawk,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Oh, I bet that was excruciating.
2,000 hours and 3 years.
Is that right?
Yep. So he worked on it, and it was really cool. He had a couple pictures of his studio as he was working on it, and literally the entire studio was covered with pictures of hawks in like different views and angles and in flight and all of these different things, so that he just had like constant visual inspiration for any angle that he might be looking at the hawk in his construction. It was just like he just like papered the walls in hawk pictures. It was really cool.
But the finished product was, wow.
It was incredible.
And all I saw was pictures.
Michael, yes, I actually talked to him this weekend. He was at the Blade Show, and I assume that he had reached out to you, but maybe he hasn't yet. He is kind of mulling over some ideas for some options. He was actually, when we were there, we were talking about it, and sorry, I'm talking to somebody outside the door. He said that he was actually thinking like a pneumatic hand might help more with like a pedal or something that you could do. And somebody was talking about, I think Chris Andre said that he has a pneumatic machine that he can put his tools into for like beveling or doing backgrounding or different things. Mm-hmm. And so I might get with Chris Andre and see. He said that Bob Beard, I think, currently makes all of his tools that go into it. I think that's what he was saying. But I could send you a link to that. I'll text Chris or shoot him an email and see if he can give me the information for that pneumatic option, because that might be something that you could hold with your foot and then just push the pedal, and it would do the work for you, so that you wouldn't even have to have a mallet. How do you use a print paper for patterns that's clear? I got some when I started and couldn't find videos, so I never used it.
What now?
How do you use that print paper for patterns that's clear? I think you just put it in your printer. So I believe that maybe it's Tandy that was selling like the clear printer paper that you.
It's like almost like a transfer.
I think that you just use it as a piece of paper that you put in the printer, but that's what you might look and see if they have any information on that, and then you would just print it out. But like in this situation, then you just use tracing paper, and then you just trace the outline.
Actually, I used a light box.
And I bought one of those too to use. Is that?
They're pretty cool. Because you can, the light box is just a piece of clear, opaque, or not clear, but opaque white stuff that has a light underneath it. You set this on top,
Yep.
then set your blank paper on top of it, and you can see the
right through it.
shadow nicely.
If you don't have a light box, just take the lamp and put it under a empty frame, like a picture frame, and put your picture on the picture frame.
Oh, with the glue.
Nice, yeah.
That's what I used to do because I didn't want to pay for a light box.
Interesting. Well, they're pretty cheap now. I think I bought one on Amazon for maybe like $30, and it was a pretty good size because I wanted to make sure I could get whatever size knife that I'm working on. But I used it last night, so I had my sheath pattern, and I drew my belt loop on top of the sheath pattern, right? But then I need the belt loop on its own, and I didn't want to have to cut up my sheath for my outline. And so all I did, I just folded the piece of paper, put it on my light box, and you can just trace your belt loop pattern right off. And so like anybody, I suggest, especially, if you're drawing a lot of your own patterns or you need it to trace things, that light box was a really good investment, and I used it quite a bit to make things a lot easier.
15 and my parents didn't want to buy me one.
Hey, Chevy. Well, you made it, but I think we're about done.
Yep, I think I am done for the day.
Chris, they don't have a link for the hawk, to the link. Can you link to the hawk? Are you wanting the hawk, or were you wanting the owl, Chris? This, just type in owl vector. You might even be able to type in that right there, because that's probably where it is, and it'll pull right up for you if you want this one specifically. Otherwise, the hawk, if you go to our social pages, our Instagram, we do have the leather hawk that we were talking about. There's some pictures of the hawk. So, well, it turns out that Kevin wants to go to lunch, so I will throw out a couple pieces of leather. I'm assuming you're done. You can put your eyes in.
I got to see what the
Okay.
size is.
So this is where we're going to call it today. And then, Denny, are you going to keep tooling on Friday, or are you going to finish tooling and we'll color Friday?
That's yet to be determined.
All right. So we will be back with the owl on Friday, and whether we're finishing tooling or coloring it, we will.
Yeah,
We'll let you know.
I might finish tooling, and then we'll actually install the eyeballs
Okay.
and color it
All right.
Friday. Okay?
All righty, guys. Thanks for joining us, and keep if you want to jump over to Twitch just for a minute or two, I'm going to throw out some leathers that we'll have on live shopping tomorrow, so you guys can get a little preview of that. We'll be doing live shopping tomorrow at 2 p.m. Central on Twitch, and then we'll be back on Friday to finish up our owl, or to do something more with the owl.
Good.
So, bye.
See you guys Friday.